Are you tired of not being able to tackle the league content every single league? Are you tired to try builds that are slow as turtles or are not as advertised and you just level your character for nothing? Well, I got your solution for you here. Stormbrand Assassin. Oh my god. I've been playing this for what, 4 days? I don't want to stop. Like, I'm making this video and I should start another build, but I'll probably play it for another 2 or 3 days because it's just awesome. The clear speed, look at this. This is a tier 16, guys. A tier 16. Look at the speed. It's crazy. Everything's melting. Everything's exploding. It's very tanky, defensive. Boss melts in a matter of seconds. Uber Elder got his face plundered in the dirt by me like 15 minutes ago. And I always had problem with Uber Elder because it's one of those fights where you kind of need to know a bit of the mechanics. But this time I fucked him over like really good. Okay, what's happening here? Very easy. We're playing a Stormbrand character, and I will explain to you guys why not play the Hierophant version anymore. I used to have a Stormbrand build that was around the Hierophant one, and it's shit now. I will explain what in more detail in the build section. But for now, just enjoy the clear, you know, it's... I just enjoy watching it. I'm watching it right now. It's gorgeous. There's gonna be a Uber Elder fight showdown. I don't know if I'm gonna put it at the end of the video or if I'm just gonna do an entire other video separately and link it in the description. So check this out. I don't know how long this is gonna take me. I've tackled everything in the game. The only thing I haven't done yet is Cyrus 8. Is it doable? Listen, Cyrus, okay, he has... he's a big deal for Life Leech character, and this is what we are. And anybody who has tried Awaken 8 Cyrus will tell you the same thing. If you're life regen, like, you can take him if you know the mechanics. But if you're Leech, you can still take him. You just need to be good at the game, which is not really my case. I'm kind of shit. So I don't know how this is gonna turn out, and I don't know when I'll be able to spawn him. So in the meantime, I'm doing this video because I want you guys to show you guys how I did this. We have around 6 million damage, and I just want to highlight that I did not have my Wise Oak. I have a 15% elemental penetration missing at the moment of recording. Every single map you've seen, every boss you're gonna see go down, including Uber Elder and Shaper, have all been done without my Wise Oak being balanced. Because I noticed at the end of recording, and I was like, well, am I recording all over again? And I was like, nah, man, I'm just raping those bosses. Like, I don't need to show 15% more elemental penetration damage, what's gonna do. You guys can imagine how fast they would go down if I just balance my Wise Oak. This is somewhat of a budget build too. I say somewhat because I did a lot of testing. I swapped a lot of pieces. I tried putting some investment in it just to see if I was going to see a difference. And I didn't, for the most part. There's going to be a very budget version that I'm going to put in the description, the POB. And there's going to be like the version I'm playing right now, which is not totally budget, but not super expensive either. It's kind of in the middle range. This is what I recommend. Like, if you play a bit of the game, you're going to be able to invest as much as I did. Like, it's very easy. So I'm going to show you guys the build, and yeah, let's get to it. Alright, so I think the first question to address would be, why no more Hierophant? Why you don't want to play a Stormbrand Hierophant? Look, the clear speed, that's the main thing. Normally you scale Archmage with these things, and Brand Recall and Archmage have a wonky they have a wonky interaction. It's going to use Brand Recall mana cost instead of like the initial cost of your Stormbrand. And to make it short, because I played a Stormbrand Hierophant, this is what I started as. And to make it short, it's just going to cut your damage almost in half when you're clearing, and this is going to reflect on your mapping a lot, and it won't feel comfortable, it won't feel good. And also in damage, you would think Hierophant would have a high damage, because you're scaling your mana and whatnot, but it has a way lower damage than Assassin does. So to make this short, don't play Hierophant anymore. Assassin's the way to go. Now, there's a bunch of ways to play Assassin Stormbrand. Mainly, main changes are going to be the budget you're going to put in it, because the way you're going to play is going to reflect how much budget you're going to put in it. What I've put together here is what I think is a good symmetry between medium budget and like a shit ton of damage, a lot of clear, and good defense. Now, tucking that out of the way, what do you need to play this? All right, there's a couple of things. The bread and butter of the build, what makes it do damage against bosses, are those brand loyalty and grand design setup, especially brand loyalty. If you're going for like super budget or whatever, make sure you have brand loyalties, cluster jewels. All right, I got 4. This has only one goal, and it is to increase my damage against boss so I can focus on other stuff in the build. The mandatory thing here is going to be those brand loyalty. Vengeful Commander isn't, but they're not super expensive. I think I bought those for like 20 chaos. Doriani's Lesson is mandatory. You need at least 1. And the other thing you're going to need is not Snowstorm, but it's nice to have Blast Freeze. Blast Freeze is mandatory. Now we're going to use Call of the Brotherhood rings, which means we're going to use cold damage. We're converting almost everything we've got into cold damage. Increase cold damage and freeze your enemy spreads in a radius of 12. This is what makes it so that I can last in the fight with about 5,000 health pool. Because the first question I thought to myself was like, damn, am I going to be able to last in maps with 5,000 health pool? And I've played around and I've tried a lot of things, and turns out, like, if you're trying to make a bulky tanky character, I played over 7,000 health pool character this league with like chaos resistance, elemental resistance and whatnot, and I would still die in some wonky maps or like haste and stuff like that. So this here make me, with a 5,000 health pool character, made me die less than I've died in the entire league. Okay, I don't know if you guys notice, rewind the video if you didn't, but in the clear, you basically have freezing everything. Everything that doesn't get killed instantly is going to get frozen, because something will have crit, something will be frozen, and it's going to have spread everywhere. And so everything is chaining on your Stormbrand, everything is freezing. Like, this is your main defense set. It's just that you never get attacked. I know a couple of maps that I did that were super nasty, and I saw those, you know which one I'm talking about, the timeless Maraketh guys who just jump in the air or are about to fire an arrow that I know is going to kill me. I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh shit, and then they just, like, one of my brand spreads somewhere and they just freeze in place and I just kill them. And so this is mandatory. You need this in the build, otherwise you're not going to freeze and it's going to feel less defensive than it should be. Once you get that, you're good to go. Okay, void batteries are kind of cheap. You go for 2 void batteries, and then we're going to go for the cheap version first. It's going to be a replica high-risk through. This is the new item that made me start this build, because I was looking for budget at first. I was like, man, I don't want to pay 250 All's Offspring Chaos for that, because I don't know what it's going to look like. And so I went for Replica's High-Risk Truth. What it does basically is reduce my hatred mana reservation, so it allows me to have Zealotry, hatred, and wrath. I probably recorded one of the maps without my hatred because it was off. And yeah, it happened a lot. Like, I just don't notice when I'm missing damage because it's so destructive. This thing has 6 million damage when everything is scaled off. Also, by the way, in every video I've recorded, I forgot to balance my resistance because, like I said, I did a lot of testing, and I'm like, this is not counting. My Wise Oak was absolutely useless toward the entire thing, and I had, like, it was just not working, basically. So yeah, that's one thing. 15 elemental penetration more that I should have that I didn't get into any of the recordings, so it just gives you an idea how bonkers this thing is. Yeah, also we need Militant's Faith because we're going to use Inner Conviction. and Irish Truth if you're cheap, if you're not, All's Offspring. And this is basically all you need. And Pulsa is recommended for clear, but if you're starting, you don't need it. But after you get that thing going, you go for Impulsa. Now, this is my version, okay? So I think I want to do this in order. I'm going to show you the version I recommend, and then I'm going to show you the budget one. And I'm going to link in the description because this is going to be all over the place, and you guys can be like, what is he talking about? And it's going to be in the path of building in the description, the budget version and the regular version. And also my suggestion for like if you want to scale the build higher. I did everything with this. Shaper, all the Guardians, and I mean destroy everything. Uber Elder, they all flatten. The only thing I haven't tried is all of the Grandmaster, and honestly I kind of want to try it. I might put it in the video if I do manage to do it after. I didn't think about that. All right, so for the we're gonna talk about the gems first. Anomalous Brand, linked to an Empower level 3, level 4 if you're Richie Rich. Linked with Second Wind. This is going to allow us to cast Brand Recall a lot more in fights, which is nice. Leave Brittany alone. Then we're gonna go for the main setup. Should have started with that. Awaken added lightning damage, power charge on crit, conk effect, Divergent Stormbrand, Swift Brand support, control destruction. This is not the awakened version. Of course, if you go for the awakened version, it's gonna be stronger. Zealotry, Wrath, Enlighten, and this should be this can be anything you want. I roll device. I made some tests with it. You just don't use it in the build. Let's use this. I wanted to see if my clear was going to be better. It's not worth the hassle, trust me. Then we're going to go for Frost Bomb, Frostbite that we're going to apply ourselves. Hatred, because it's free. We can put it somewhere else than in the Enlighten thing. It doesn't matter. I will still put it there for the lulz. Righteous Fire, Immortal Call, cast when damage taken, increase duration. Now this setup is mandatory. Because we're extremely defensive because we freeze everything, but once in a while there's going to be mobs that are really hard hitting and nasty mobs. Like I've been doing tier 16 for the past 3 days. This is all I have, like tier 16s, and I've destroyed everything, but Immortal Call saved my ass a couple of times because some attacks will pass and then Immortal Call is going to proc and you've got 3 seconds that you can leech everything back up. So this is mandatory. Righteous Fire for bossing, it's nice to have. Second Wind, Flame Dash, Arcane Surge. Again, not mandatory, but it's pretty nice to have it for the clear speed. Now, these are the gems. They're pretty straightforward. Nothing too fancy. I do suggest, though, because I skipped it pretty fast, I do suggest that you get Divergent Stormbrand. Not necessarily level 21. It's not going to drop your damage by a lot. It's peanuts. But Divergence is nice because it's going to allow your Stormbrand to chain more. I didn't see that much difference between the two, but I was wrecking bosses so hard that I was like, why not just take a Divergent version? I don't need more damage. I don't care. I just want my clear to be good. Bosses are melting. I killed Uber Elder in seconds, like every phase. It's not necessary to get more damage, so I went for that. Now for the gear. Void batteries first. Then try to get an Impulsa 6 link. Okay, this is going to be very much more enjoyable for your clear. Another mandatory part is Replica Soul Tether because it's going. We need that health pool to be as high as we can possibly can, and this is what this was, in my opinion, the best way to get all that damage. And this is one of the difference I've seen from other people who did the Stormbrand version of Assassin in videos that I've watched. I'm not going to drop any names. I'm just saying if you go look at their video, they managed to get 5,000 health pool only from life, but their damage is like around 2 million. We want to get around 6 million without investing a crazy amount of budget. So we need Soul Tether for that. All right. Soul Tether. And then if you can, Hand of the Eye Templar with cursed enemies with elemental weakness on hit, either that or just any pair with curse element enemies with elemental weakness on it. Any pair will do. It doesn't have to be Hands of the Eye Templar. Just make sure that it has health. If you can, some ES, but mandatory resistance because we need this to kind of cover some resistance. The next upgrade you should go for is the +1 power charge. They go for, I think I bought that one for 150 chaos. It's not that expensive. It's a good boost. It's fun, not mandatory. You will see the budget version is around 3 to 4 million DPS, like full budget. So yeah, it's not mandatory, but it's nice to have. I like it. Now, Old's Offspring is the non-budget version for 250 chaos. Again, not that expensive because impulse size is 170, so you're gonna have a lot of budget that you can put on some other things. It gives you your hatred for free, which allows us to get zealotry and wrath all stick up together, and we have 3 auras with that. Call of the Brotherhood, mandatory, super cheap. Like I think I bought those for 5 chaos with 20% already on them. It's kind of crazy. And then okay, this is gore style. It's not necessary. You don't need it. But I like Tailwind on my boots. I do because I like to go fast. And you're not going to see a huge difference. It's not going to increase your damage because the frequencies are not going... It's kind of dumb, but that's how GGG coded it. The frequencies of your Stormbrands are not going to go faster because of Tailwind. It's strictly for movement speed and for placing your brands a bit faster, but you won't feel the difference. It's just me. I had some budget. I was like, let's just put it all into the boots. For a while, I've been running, if you want like an alternative, I have been running with, where is it? I'm a very orderly guy, as you can see. There we go. I've been running with replicas and he has an Epiphany. Like, if you don't want to run a Tailwind pair of boots, you can go for that, but the issue here is covering your resistance becomes harder because normally you should use that pair of boots to stack up as much resist as you can, and this has no resistance, all right? But it will give you 50% increased movement speed if you have 10 power charge like I do, which is great. Some damage, some life, some everything. So if you can cover your resistance with jewels, because I'm a lazy guy, sorry about that. Because I'm a lazy guy and I really don't like buying jewels. Like, it's tedious for me, and so I don't like shopping. So I want to balance. But if you guys shop for your jewels and like you can balance your resistance, feel free to like put Inya's Epiphany here. You're gonna love it. But for me, I just went Tailwind, a bit of resistance, and then stack the rest of the resistance that I could on my jewels. So that's it for the gear. Flasks are going to be Diamond Flask of Warding, Cinder Swallow Hern, Quicksilver Flasks, the Wise Oak. Please balance your resistance on your cold resist to be the highest. Don't be like me and record an entire video with your Wise Oak not doing anything because it's kind of dumb. And this is mandatory. Enduring Eternal Mana Flask. You don't need to have the bleeding removal. You can have it on another flasks. But make sure you have Enduring Eternal Mana Flask. Because otherwise you won't be able to cast your thing. Okay, about the freeze. I do have a freeze flask. Okay, I do have one. But like I said, I played this character a fuck ton. And what I noticed was like that I wrecked ass so much, I just didn't need a freeze flask. The curse were more annoying to me. Like, I would get into a temporal chain map, and I thought about putting the anti-freeze on my boost, but here's the thing. It's just not needed. When I did Uber Elder, I did swap for that one because he puts a lot of chilling effect on the ground, and I know he got phases and whatever. So if you're doing Uber Elder, make sure you get freeze removal. But for like all the mapping on tier 16, every single content on the game, not needed. But Gorse, what about those, you know the one I'm talking about, the strong boxes, when you click on them and it's all going to explode and you're going to get frozen. Look, you put 2 brands on the ground, you open that chest. If you do happen to get frozen, everything's going to die. You won't get any damage. Don't worry. And it's going to leech you back up. So I figured, hey, you know what? I'd rather have remove curse than remove freeze. Trust me, test it. You're never going to get frozen. And if you do ever get frozen, you won't give a shit. Okay? It happens very rarely. It does make the no, I was about to say something that's not true. Never mind. Of course, if you can get an enchant for Stormbrand, that's great, but the +1 power charge takes precedent over the enchantment. If you do manage to find a helm with the like life, resistance, power charge, and then brand enchant, it's probably going to be like 50 exalt or something. But if you do, good for you. So that was it for the freeze. Now we're going to talk a bit about the passive and whatnot. We're going to need a Militant's Fate Jewel because we want that sweet damage. 30% power charge because of our tower charge. 30% more spell damage. Rune Binder, Rune Smith here. Now there's a bunch of ways to build this. Like, it's nothing crazy. If I had more budget, more time, I could get this to like 10 million easy, and or rather be a bit more tanky. But here's the thing, in the state of the game right now, and I don't know if you guys agree with me, but in the state of the game right now, I didn't enjoy the other builds I did this league as much as I did this one, because even with like an 8,000 health character, armor, or like chaos damage mitigation or whatever, everything defensive mechanic you can imagine, I would still die on stupid shit, overtune, mistake, double beyond, shit like that. But with this thing, since everything is frozen, you just have to worry about bosses and they melt in seconds. So I'm like, dude, is it really worth it for me to invest any more damage or life or whatever? It's just, I don't need it. I never die, or rarely. If I die, it's because I played stupid. Like I stayed into a puddle of poison or a puddle of fire while looking at my inventory, and then I died. That's the kind of shit I do. That's how I die. Or a very nasty map mod that I just never bother to read. I just go in and at some point I die somewhere because, oops, like the damage was just too insane. And I'm like, even if I had like 2,000 more health, it would have probably killed me. So who gives a shit, you know? But that's my opinion, all right? Am I forgetting something? I think that's it. So this is what I recommend. It's very powerful. Very powerful. But mostly the clear is nice. Every single clear I've tried this league with bow builds, with melee clear, it all sucked in terms of clear or damage or defense. It was all lacking something. I was like, yay, I got a good clear, I got a good defense, but I have 1 million damage. Now I don't know about you guys, but I prefer going in a boss room like Cyrus or whatever and just delete the fuck out of him. I don't want to play the game. I don't want to do his phases. I don't want about stage. I'm like, oh, you're gonna do your stage thing, okay? Well, Stormbrand, I just go beep boop, you're dead. It's over. All right. So that's in my opinion. It's super fast. It's fun. It's fast. And it beats Hierophant. It feels, honestly, it feels like Archmage when it was good, when it was fast, when they didn't redid brand recall. Like that, this is how it feels like. And it's like, I'm going to link the budget version, guys. It's very cheap. All right, so this is for my version. I'm going to try to explain the budget version, but there's a lot of synergy here, so you might be all woozy. Just go into the comment if you're tired of hearing me talk, and just path of building the budget version and follow it. Okay, you're gonna be cool. What we're gonna do for the budget version is this. We're gonna go for that thing. Okay, Replica Cyrus through. Then we're gonna be able to use this Zealot 3, but we're gonna need a bit more reserve with Wrath. So what we're gonna do is take off some perks. If I remember correctly, I took out this and that, if I remember correctly, and we're gonna come and pick Aura, Mana Reserve, Reduced Mana, and Sovereignty. We're gonna pick all those here, all right? And then to make sure we can have it, we're gonna put Charisma on our amulet, all right? This is what I recommend. By the way, golden oils are super cheap. Like, I think it costed me 70 chaos to put the Doom curse on my All's Uprising. And it was worth it because it's double. No, it's not really worth it. I'm talking trash. It added 400,000 damage. So if you guys are like, well, this is fucking expensive, well, don't do it. It's 400,000 damage out of 6 million. Do you need it? No. Is it nice? Meh, it's kind of nice. Anyway, back to the budget version. So once you've got that going for you, you're going to be okay. I'm not going to regret my things, but trust me, when you put all that, you're going to have enough mana to be able to have Hatred and Wrath at the same time. Okay? But yeah, here we got 0 mana, but once you got these, you're going to have enough mana to be able to keep those 3 auras and then still cast Stormbrand. All right? So that's the first step on the budget version. The rest of the build is pretty budget. You remove the helm, no power charge. It's fine. Still going to be like 3 million damage. What else that was expensive? I think that's pretty much it. The rest is like the 6th and Pulsa. Now, that's for the budget version, and for details, check the description. Now, for the more expensive version, for those of you who are richy rich, look, There's a tons of way we could improve this. I would personally start with Christ, I don't even know where I would start if I would upgrade this. Well, I would take out Replica Soul Tether. Put a yellow belt in there if I had the money. Badge of the Brotherhood. And I did test when an explodey chest. It does very similar damage to Impulsa. Like you're not really gonna feel the difference in clear. So explodey chest to cover your resistance. A rare belt here. Maybe like life to chaos to make sure you still have a good health pool. Maybe remove inner conviction if you want to be more tanky, because you're gonna have like frenzy charges, which are basically the same damage as inner conviction. I think you lose like 200k damage, but like you take this off and then you get the thing that gives you corrupted soul instead of the belt. So you have a yellow here, you have a yellow here with frenzy charge on hit, and you're more tanky, you got similar damage. So that's what I would do for an upgrade at first. And then like you could get some lightning damage on your helm, but it's not going to be a huge difference after that. The step up from that, well, you could buy a better pair of gloves, like yellow gloves with better resist, so that you can put like multiplier on every single jewel twice with resistance and life, you know. But I'm, like I said, I don't like jewels. I'm cheap. It bores me to death, so I don't like to buy them. But you could do that. And then once that's done, it's Badge of the Brotherhood, man. That's just how you go for crazy damage. Of course, you can just take off your Soul Tether and put a Headhunter in there, but then again, it's for the Richie Rich. And if you're at that spot in the game, you probably don't need my guide. So it required more testing, but that's what I would do. So anyway, guys, that's my Stormbrand Assassin. I loved it. It was fun in Heist. For those of you who wonder if it's Heist viable, look, every time a door opens, you just put a brand, everything dies on the other side. You don't even have to show your face, and that was worth its weight in gold. So this video has been too long already, so I'm gonna cut it out. Probably gonna put the Uber Elder in another video now. So if you got any questions, like always, in the comments. You don't have to like, you don't have to subscribe, but try to build because it's awesome.